All right, hey everybody. So we're about 2 hours after eating a very carb-filled lunch, so I'm sure you guys are all ready to go to sleep. So we're going to talk about exercise today. And so I am a retired chiropractor. That is my official title. I am also a certified personal trainer and a certified cancer exercise specialist. So I work with clients going through cancer, after cancer recovery, and it's just my favorite thing in the world to do. And I want to talk to you guys all today about exercise. We've been hearing about exercise all day long. Dr. Jay Harness talked about it this morning. He gave all of the scientific stuff, which was fantastic. And he talked a lot about cardio and pickleball. So I'm not even going to talk about any of that stuff. And he also showed that, there's 41% decrease in all-cause mortality when you have an exercise program in place. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. And I'm not gonna stand up here and tell you that if you exercise every day, you're not gonna have a recurrence of cancer. I'm also not gonna tell you that if you don't ever exercise a day in your life, your cancer will come back. I have been a fitness enthusiast for the last 15 plus years. I've run half marathons. I'm in the gym almost every day, lifting weights, doing cardio, and I still got breast cancer. It happens, but what I will tell you is that the long-term benefits of a regular exercise program far outweigh any risks that come along with it. So, can you go to the first slide? So we're going to talk about three things. Cardio definitely is very important. Cardio is important for your heart health. It's not quite so important for your muscle strength and longevity, but it is still very important. I'm going to talk to you today about these three things: strength training and especially progressive overload. So strength training is just lifting weights or doing some kind of resistance work, whether it's your body weight, whether it's resistance bands, whether it's dumbbells, barbells, machines, cables, all of the things. Super, super, super important that we will go into. Balance training. And balance is basically the ability to stand up straight without falling over. And then finally, cognitive training, which, thank you very much, Dr. Matt. Where'd you go? There you are. You talked a lot about it, and I'm going to talk about it in a little different way as far as cognitive training. So first of all, why is resistance training so important? Brett, can you go to the next slide? All right, as we all know, when you have breast surgery, when you have radiation chemotherapy, you are going to lose muscle mass. You're going to lose muscle size. You're going to lose muscle strength. And getting on a resistance training program is vital to helping regain that strength, regain that muscle mass, increasing testosterone levels so we can have a normal life again. It also improves your mental health. For me, exercise is almost as much mental therapy as it is physical therapy. I have an hour or so every day just about that is just for me. I'm lifting heavy things, I'm running, I'm releasing endorphins, and as we've talked about throughout the day, having a positive mental attitude, having that positiveness in your life and good mental health is vital for recovery and longevity. And like I said before, it can reduce the risk of recurrence. It's not guaranteed, but there is definitely a reduced risk with this. Right. And then the next two slides are just going to give you kind of some exercises that are really great to get started. So for the upper body, chest press, and especially for men, doing unilateral exercises, especially if you have just a single mastectomy versus a double mastectomy. So I generally like to start my clients off with dumbbell bench presses because you're using each arm individually and you're getting more of that unilateral strength building versus using a barbell on a bench press. And I recommend bench press or chest press over push-ups because as you are recovering, you're going to have really tight muscles and you might not have the strength, and trying to do a push-up on the floor can lead to more problems. So definitely like incline push-ups. Whoa, that moves. All right, we're not going to do that because we're not going to fall. All right. So doing incline push-ups or wall push-ups, something where you're starting to build that strength in the pecs without overloading them too much. Now rows are just the exact opposite. I started here with resistance bands because that's a good way to start. If you are working out at home and starting this and you don't have heavy weights or you're not to the point where you have heavy weights or you can lift them, resistance bands are a great way to start. You can get a whole pack of them for $7.99 on Amazon. You can just attach them around a post, or they have little things that you can attach them to your door, all kinds of things. And as you gain strength, the way to make it harder is to slow down the tempo and go very, very slow, and that simulates a higher resistance. Now, the reason that rows are so important is from breast surgery, a lot of times if you're not in physical therapy and that scar tissue develops, it can cause the shoulders to come forward. And when those shoulders come forward, it closes down the lungs, it closes down the heart, it can lead to other issues. So by doing some kind of rowing activity, whether it's a barbell row, whether it's resistance rows, whether you're doing the row cardio machine at the gym, it helps to open up that chest and bring those shoulders back so you can breathe better, your heart works better, and it leads to better posture. Okay? And then third is wall angels. And this, if you've done physical therapy, you've probably done these, standing up against a wall and just pushing the shoulders up and down. Helps to, again, open up the chest and improve shoulder mobility. Now, for the lower body, this is super important for men because the muscles in the legs, the quads, the legs, the glutes are the biggest, strongest muscles in the body. They help, the more you work them, the more you increase your power, increase your strength, and again, it can help to raise testosterone levels in the body, the good testosterone that's not going to convert to estrogen. These are just basics. So a goblet squat, just doing a squat. You can sit to a chair if you want. If you can't do it with weight yet to get started, step ups. Anybody else remember when the step machine or the little step became popular in the 90s? There are still step aerobic classes going on in every gym everywhere for a good reason. Just to step up, walking the stairs versus taking the elevator. Super, super good for your heart, good for your legs. And then glute bridges to help build up the glutes. That's basically you're laying on your back with your knees bent and you're just pushing your butt up in the air. You can graduate to hip thrusts where you have a barbell around or dumbbells on you to work your glutes more. All right, next slide, I think. Yes. Balance training. So I do balance training with every single one of my clients, whether they are cancer survivors or not. Balance is vital to longevity. As we age, like the number one impairment as we age outside of dementia is falling and breaking a hip. How many people do you know or have you heard of that have fallen and broken a hip and they're dead within 6 months to a year? Exactly. So balance training is super, super important. It increases your mobility, increases your stability, and it helps to support your recovery. So there is kind of a progression that happens with balance training. So we start with the eyes open, standing on 2 feet. All right, it is amazing how many people struggle with just being able to stand with your feet next to each other without wobbling or swaying. I have a couple of clients who have peripheral neuropathy, and balance is a struggle every single time, but we work on it every time. So once you can do that, you can go to the next slide. Then you do tandem. So you put one foot in front of the other, heel toe. This is going to be great because I have heels on, trying to do this up here with heels on. And making sure that you can stand like that, kind of like doing the sobriety tests, you know, when you get pulled over by the cops. And, and then if you can do that, then we move to one leg, standing on one leg. All right? And then we move to the eyes closed. And you would be amazed at how much of balance is vision. So now that we're all waking up a little bit, I want everybody to stand up if you feel comfortable doing this, and having your feet just a little bit far apart, not right next to each other, but a little bit. And then once you can do that and be kind of close to something, I want you to close your eyes.
Don't do that.
And see, it's a little bit different. You start to feel just a little bit of sway. So practicing eyes open and eyes closed. And I tell all of my clients, if you're going to practice balance with your eyes closed, do it in a corner.
Good idea.
Okay? Not necessarily just up against a wall, but in a corner. So if you start to sway, you've got something on both sides. Always be safe, please, when you are practicing balance training. And then once we get the eyes closed okay, then we move from a stable to an unstable surface. So I love the Bosu. I don't know if you guys know what a Bosu is. It's a little half dome kind of thing. And I like to work on both sides of the Bosu. So the way it is over here, your ankles are more unstable because you're trying to stand with your ankles. So that requires a little bit more ankle strength. If you flip it over, then you are straight, but the surface is unstable, and so it gives you a little bit of a different aspect to it. There's also wobble boards. You guys can sit back down if you want to. Sorry. There's wobble boards, there's balance boards, there's balance discs. There's all kinds of things. I tell my clients when they're working on it at home, stand on a pillow or stand on a cushion. That's going to give you a little bit of that instability. And then we add in combinations of the two. So I'll have people work on standing on one foot and doing dumbbell shoulder presses. Doing a bird dog, which is you're on your hands and your knees and one leg and one arm come out, and then doing rows while you're there. Or on the Bosu and doing squats on a Bosu once you can stand on it by yourself. So balance is something that takes practice. The more you practice it, the better that you will get. And the reason that I love the unstable surface and the combination things is balance is more than just about being able to stand up and not fall down. Balance is also, say you're walking and you kind of trip a little bit, it's about being able to correct yourself and deal with that instability and be able to keep yourself from falling. So that's why I love building up to working on unstable surfaces. All right, and then the last thing we're going to talk about is cognitive training. Cognitive training helps to improve your memory, it helps to alleviate the brain fog, and it enhances your overall quality of life. And now, cognitive training, for lack of a better term, it's brain games. It's engaging your brain, helping to build those neural connections to keep your brain young, to keep it active. You can do things like crossword puzzles, like Sudoku, like other brain games. There are lots of websites out there like Brain HQ and Lumosity and a couple of others that have all different kinds of brain games that you can play. What I love to do is I love to combine cognitive training with interval training or with balance. So some of my favorite things to do are, while you're doing your step-ups, So just on the stairs, going up the stairs, or if you have a step or something like that. And with every step that you take, you start with A and you name an animal. It's like, oh, aardvark. Oh, bear. Cougar. And it's combining physical movement with brain training to help it to sink in even more. Doing a wall sit. All right, I'm going to come over here real quick. So stand up against the wall, squat down for 30 seconds, and name as many sports teams as you can think of in that 30 seconds while you're sitting. And I will say, because this is hard, but if you can distract yourself by doing something else,
It works.
it actually works. When I have my clients doing the wall sit, I'll talk to them throughout the whole thing while I'm timing them so they can handle it a little bit better. Or talking about the bird dog. So every time you change and alternate, you can say the alphabet, but skip every other letter. Now some people can't do that just standing here. And when I do it, sometimes I'm like, okay, A, C, E, G, and it's fun. And when I do kind of small groups, I have one of those little Pilates ball, and we'll just pass it around and go kind of in a circle, and everybody name a color, but you can't say the same color that somebody else has said, and we go backwards, and then we change to fruits, and things like that. You make it fun. That's kind of part of, probably my favorite training is the cognitive training, because it's fun. And you know, Alzheimer's and dementia are on the rise, and anything that we can do to help keep our brains sharp, keep them young, is going to help us in the long run. So I highly recommend working with a certified cancer exercise specialist. Most oncology physical therapies, they should have recommendations for you. There's also a website that you can go to. The Cancer Exercise Training Institute is where I got my certification from. And their website is thecancerspecialist.com. And I don't have that up here, but it's thecancerspecialist.com, and they have a directory of all cancer exercise specialists around the globe. So you can go there and find one in your area. We all have specialized training in all of the nuances of working with cancer clients. Listen to your body, okay? We've talked about fatigue today. Fatigue is real. I generally talk to my clients every time I see them. What's your fatigue level today on a scale of 1 to 10? If they're at an 8 or a 9, we're not going to do a crazy, heavy, busy workout. We're going to do something lighter. We're going to maybe play a little bit more, do lighter. If their fatigue level is at a 1 or 2, man, we're going to go heavy. We're going to do all of the things. So listen to your body. That tells the best story. And just remember that consistency is more important than intensity. So if you're doing something every day, just moving your body, I highly recommend getting some kind of a fit tracker, whether it's an Apple Watch or a Garmin or whatever else is out there that helps kind of keep track of your steps, your movement, your exercise, because I just can't overstress how important this all is, okay? Now with the last few minutes, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my passion project, and that is my podcast. And it's called The Many Faces of Cancer. It's stories of hope and inspiration. I've been doing this for about a year now, a little over a year, and it just fills my heart every single week. And it's a weekly interview show, and I interview people who are on a cancer journey, whether they're patients, survivors, caregivers, family members, friends. And most of you, I think, I put a little postcard in the bags, and it also has a QR code on the back that will take you to the podcast. If you don't have one in here, there's some more up here. And I call it Stories of Hope and Inspiration because we talk about cancer, but we really focus on the silver linings. We focus on the good parts. We focus on, like, how has your life changed for the better since you've gone through this? I've done, I think, about 60 interviews or so. Both Brett and Peggy have been on the show. They have been the last 2 weeks, so if you go, you can check out their stories. They'll be right at the top. And I want this to be for people who maybe feel alone, maybe feel like nobody else knows what I'm going through. And I try and get all kinds of different cancers and different walks of life on there, because you can have 6 people on there in a row who have all had breast cancer, but their stories are all different, and we can all find something in every story that resonates with us. And then the other piece of it is this is really a platform for people to be able to share their stories. And because it's a weekly show, I am always looking for guests. So if anybody is interested, my email is on that postcard as well. You can reach out to me if you would like to be a guest on the show and share your story. I would love to talk to you more about that. And we're on all of the podcast platforms. We also have a YouTube channel, and all the videos are on YouTube. So I invite you to check it out and, share it out if you want to. If you think there's somebody out there who, could use a little bit of hope, could use a little bit of inspiration, hopefully this would be a great place for them to start. So that's all I have for you today.
Awesome.
This is my information. If anybody has any questions, hopefully I woke you up a little bit.
Yeah.
I could just see okay, the carbs are coming into play right now. We must do something else. So does anybody have any questions?
You covered so much.
All right.
Excellent information.
So get out there and move your body.
Yeah, and exactly like I say, remind everyone, we're videotaped, these will live on our site and YouTube channel forever. So even the speakers can share it out to people,
Awesome.
what you're talking about.
Yes. All right.
You're awesome.
Thank you guys so much.